Hello and welcome to Grumpy Gamers. You're here listening to me, Pete, and along with me this week I have Ben.
Hello.
And Eddie.
Hello, and that was so fucking bad, Pete. What was that?
What are you talking
sad
about?
because Kirk's not here?
No, I'm actually quite pleased. It's a return to the old days, which seems like a plus.
I thought that earlier when he said he couldn't come on. I was like, you know what? Fuck him.
I think that most days, but yeah, I
mean... Yeah. Are we maybe too... No, we're not too harsh.
No. Never.
That's not why he's not on. We should state to the listeners, that's not why he's not on. It's because he has life things. It's not because he feels bullied.
He has life things. What does that mean?
Life things.
Yeah. Unlike the rest of us who finished work 5 or 10 minutes ago, Kirk has too much work to join us. Yeah. So, yeah, unfortunately, it's just the three of us this time round. I mean... I don't think we're going to struggle with that, are we, guys?
I think we'll cope. It'll be fine. We'd obviously rather Kirk was here. Yes. That goes without saying.
Yes, as long as it's not in person here, only through the microphone, you mean? But yes, yeah,
obviously,
yeah. Anyway, enough Kirk bashing. For now, I'm sure it'll come back up at more relevant moments later. Yeah. As always, we're going to take you through a bit of the news, some of the new releases, a bit of what we've been playing, which includes Sifu this week. Nicely done, Ben, again. Nice. You're getting through those games, aren't you?
Getting through them is a strong term. Yeah, we'll go into that.
Fantastic. And our feature this week is on the Nintendo Direct, which I think aired last Wednesday. Is that right?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, spot on. And I didn't even write it down. I'm pretty happy with that. But for now, should we crack on with the news?
Yeah, I think we should. And I think just because we've gone back to three of us and Kirk's not here, we should rock back to the glory days and talk about Cyberpunk.
Yes, because that changed at any stage. Yeah.
But there was, I mean, we're recording this on the Tuesday. We usually record on a Monday, so we would have missed this. But at 3 o'clock this afternoon, they had a Twitch stream where they talked about Cyberpunk and the DLC / next gen patch, which has been dropped today. So yesterday for anyone listening on the Wednesday. So importantly, there's been a free trial and the patch has dropped. So if you don't own Cyberpunk and you want to give it a shot, then the free trial is available. And I do think that kind of shouts out to the confidence they've got that the game is now in a decent state. But I thought I'll just run through the little notes that I made. Did you guys catch any glimpse of it, or is this new information for you?
I watched a tiny amount. Okay, so I might highlight one of your notes immediately.
Cool. Okay, fine. Well, I'll get interrupted and that'll throw me off, and that's lovely.
Perfect.
So, first one, they've totally rebuilt the perk system. So, when you log on to your existing game, you have to redistribute your perks because they've got rid of some, they've added new ones in, and they've expanded them. And actually, they were demonstrating ones which seemed quite cool. So that's quite interesting. What they did say is that you really do have to redistribute your perks because you'll just get one shot otherwise. Because you have no perks.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. They said that this encourages completely new playstyles. So seems interesting enough. There's like a knife throwing technique now, and I don't know if that was in the original game. Pete, you played it more recently.
Yes. Yeah, it was.
And they've made it. They've added in this perk where it's like you have different levels of knife, like legendary and normal and stuff like that. And there's a time factor to it returning back to your hand. It's like this. It's like a magic knife kind of thing. But it looked pretty good. And there was also guillotine. Was that in the game before, Pete?
Oh, I don't know.
Like what you can get behind somebody and put a piece of string over their neck or whatever. They've added that. You can buy that. I think they've improved the enemy AI as well. Yep. So in combat, they're no longer just stupid. So, which was a factor before. They were stupid. Then they showed a lot about cars and driving and stuff like that. So first-person driving has been improved. There's better range of like the vision, I think, has been improved, what you can see when you're driving. I think the driving has been improved overall. Then they showed summoning loads of cars in, and when they were summoning the different cars, there was a crash, and I don't know whether they were a bit taken aback by that and were like, oops, that shouldn't have happened. So I just thought it was quite funny, because I think they were demonstrating that you can now summon cars and they come from different angles, and it doesn't cause... Because when you summon cars in before, sometimes weird things would happen.
Yes, massively.
And then they did it, and then a weird thing happened.
Fantastic.
So I don't think it was necessarily exactly as they planned, but anyway, you can summon cars in a slightly different way. One of the big things they improved was just when you fire your gun in the public, there's the people around you react more realistically. And also panic driving. So when you fire a gun, you'll see people who are driving nearby just randomly just try and shoot off, and they'll crash their cars and they'll knock themselves unconscious and stuff like that. So
nice.
A bit of realism there. They've improved the map a lot, and I think that was one of the things that I didn't really get on with, and it was the icons on the map. And now the side quests are clearly distinguished from the main quests. There's also filters they've added and all this kind of stuff. It looked better from what I could see. There's new guns, and the kind of major DLC. Yeah. Major. This is what they said. Was that they've added makeovers to your apartment, which doesn't look like you can do much other than select a style, like of 6 styles, and you can also rent different apartments around the city. So there's like 4 or so different apartments that you can rent, so different safe houses. Now I was never, and Pete, you can kind of correct me here, like I was never aware of a real reason to go back to your apartment. Was there ever a reason to do that?
I mean, mostly for the stash and if you wanted to sleep or anything like that. But otherwise, not major ones.
So the benefits I can see from this, I think, were you get a buff when you sleep. Do you get a buff? Did you get a buff before?
I don't think so. Actually, yes, maybe you did to experience gain.
So I think you get a buff. And you can also completely make over your character in the mirror now.
Yeah, this was the bit I saw, was the apartment makeover and character makeover, which I think
you can make over
awesome.
Make over your character. That's really good. You can make over your character, and they've added more things into the character makeover. So they've added more stuff so you can look different. The stash carries over from your apartment to your other apartments that you own as well.
Yeah.
Or that you rent. And they've added in new dialogue along the way in each of the romance options, so you can speak more often with the person that you're trying to romance.
Yeah.
That's the main things that have come out. So it's not story DLC. It's general content DLC.
Yeah.
A few new guns, that kind of stuff. But it all seems to be going in the right direction. They seem to think that this was rather a big patch, which I'm sure it is, but the next gen part is the crucial patch. They showed a lot of that. I didn't think they particularly showcased a great scene for it, but whatever, they chose that scene. And then at the end, as I said, they said patch is available right now. I've downloaded it on my PS5 already, and there is a free trial if you do not own the game, and I believe if you play the free trial, it carries over. Your experience carries over if you buy the game proper. So now is a great time to get involved. But
how long's the free trial for?
So what do we think about that? Say that again?
Do you know how long the free trial is for?
I don't. They talked about it and I didn't stick around for it. But it probably is a good idea for you to crack that one on, Eddie, I think. The next gen patch is 55 gig. So the full game in itself is probably going to be a bit of a monster. You might have to clear some space on that Series S. But I want to go back in. I've been itching for a reason to play this again, and now the next gen patch is here. I'll go in. So it's it's 4K. On the Series S, it's 1440p. So it's not 4K. It's not upscaled 4K. It's the only one which is 1440p, but I still think it's going to look absolutely amazing.
Yeah. So there's a couple of interesting points to this as well. one thing you missed there, Ben, by the way, which I think they did right at the very end, was there's also some changes to photo mode for things like Johnny Silverhand, which I know there's a huge community of people who love using photo mode in Cyberpunk. And I mean,
yes,
it's massive.
So they added that into his quest bit when you're playing as him.
Yeah, so you can do proper photo mode with Johnny, which a lot of people apparently have been modding in anyway. So it's like, you don't even need to do that now, guys. Don't worry about it. We've got you covered.
And there's a walk toggle. You can
actually walk properly, as opposed to just having to very lightly press the directional button in order to do so. But I think the main thing that interests me is, do you remember we talked a few times about the data mined content about the DLCs?
Yes.
So far, to me, this seems like it's pretty much going straight through that list. Because
that's very good.
So Jackets was one they released recently, I think end of last year. And then after that, you had one that was named Apart, which was apartments. Then there was a Power Weapon Pack, which seemed like the new weapons. Then there was a Mirror. And there was another one to do with driving. So it looks kind of to me like they are just running through that list of the content DLC that was expected.
Well, we did love that, didn't we? When we saw that list, we did love the look of it.
Exactly, yeah. And I think it's a good sign kind of to see that data mine is actually kind of accurate, because there's a lot of stuff there, like new quests, new items and things that would be coming through, and New Game Plus that were on that list. So
yeah. Oh, New Game Plus was the thing that I think really was missing from this.
Yeah.
Like, because they said about how the perks had to be reassigned if you already had a game, and it was like saying, oh, jump back in. But now I feel like I have to start a new game for this.
Yeah.
Because if there was just a New Game Plus, I'd be like, yeah, brilliant. I'll go in. I'll just do it. Carry on. Fantastic.
Yeah.
But I really think that's a big miss. But, you know, I think a lot of people were waiting for this patch, and it's time. And fucking hell, they're confident in February. This is the biggest month of game releases
this year
that I can remember.
Yeah, definitely.
They're fucking confident, aren't they?
Yeah, they're going for it. And the free trial is a nice touch, even if we can't tell you how long it is.
Yeah, perhaps I should have looked at that. Anyway.
It would be cool. I mean, we could casually Google it in the background, and I definitely will do in the next few minutes. So
okay, you correct us.
Yeah.
But big Cyberpunk news, and that's always welcome on this podcast.
Exactly. And I mean, I know Eddie doesn't have this, but I don't know about you, Ben, but every time I log into anything Cyberpunk, I'm like, I could play that again, even though I replayed it in November.
Yeah, I just yeah. The longer it's been, like the more my urge to play that again grows.
Yes, yeah, I can understand that. It's not even been that long, and I could play it again now.
Absolutely.
And I assume Eddie will play it at some point soon.
Well, there's a free trial.
Exactly. Might be worth a look. Yeah, fair. Exactly. That is very much your price range. That's like the heart of your price range. Anyway, in other news, did you guys see about the news with Microsoft and Call of Duty?
I did see this, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. So they launched a lengthy blog post on the 9th of February outlining future commitments after the acquisition of Activision Blizzard. And one thing that came as probably the most important news in this is that Call of Duty is going to be on PlayStation moving forwards as well, isn't it? So the direct quote is, "To be clear, Microsoft will continue to make Call of Duty and other popular Activision Blizzard titles available on PlayStation through the term of any existing agreement with Activision, and we have committed to Sony that we will also make them available on PlayStation beyond the existing agreement and into the future, so that Sony fans can continue to enjoy the games they love." So you'd think that's pretty clear wording, wouldn't you?
Yes, I think they've set their stance out. Yeah, absolutely.
They have done. It's interesting because they could just be playing nice until the acquisition's actually through, even now. But I don't think it's that.
There's that lingering thing of whether the regulators are going to say that you can't do this, and that's, as we get closer to it, that's what people are saying, and I think they're making all the right moves for it to go through. Obviously, what gets me about this is like this perfectly fine. Like they're the guys making their business decision, and that's the decision they want to make, and they will have their forecast to back that up. That it's good for them financially, etc.
Yeah.
It's when people say, people like on Twitter or whatever, say like, oh yeah, it makes perfect sense. Yeah, it makes logical sense. It makes perfect sense for them to keep it multi-platinum. It's like, yes, but if they put it just purely on Game Pass, you would have been the same people saying it makes perfect sense for them to put it on Game Pass only. Like, it's just like, yeah, you don't know the figures, you don't know what they're working with, and they do. So when people, I just find it funny when people say, oh yeah, it makes sense. Well, yeah, they will know if it makes sense, and you're just the people that just digest the information. You know.
Well, and this is, I suppose, the thing that struck me though. And I may well be reading far too much into it at this stage, but using the word available instead of sold is also an interesting choice.
Ooh, you're thinking
Game Pass is not coming to fucking
The old
PlayStation.
Of course it's not, but it's an interesting one.
Just because this is Kirk's news story doesn't mean you need to go through his way of thinking as well.
Hey, clearly I have to, all right? It's missing a voice. But
Kirk
no,
sent
it's,
his tinfoil hat to Pete.
well, but no, it's that interesting thought of the way you phrase things very carefully can be construed at a later point, you know? So it's interesting that they've been that careful with it. And I'm sure there's a marketing tactic in not saying sold anyway. But
Yeah, I think
it is interesting.
I think you're right. Yeah, this statement would have been really trawled through to make sure that they are absolutely 100% happy with that.
Exactly.
No,
So
I get what you mean.
And this is why the word available strikes me as like, that's an interesting way of phrasing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But either way, most likely, of course, they were going to keep this on all platforms. It sells far too well as a game to limit it, surely. Like,
Yeah, possibly. It just depends. Well, you say that. It only makes sense, you know, if they got Activision cheap, then, in the valuation, it's whether what was included in terms of their mind of what they could get out of it. I mean, but yeah, they're doing it multi-plat, and I imagine it'll be free day and date on Game Pass, and that's the big advert, isn't it? Like,
Exactly.
well, you could pay. They put the price at £70 for PlayStation games. Well, if they put it on PlayStation, they could say, well, it's £70 there, but you could just that gets you X. That's like 6 months on Game Pass. So why wouldn't you do that?
What about you, Eddie?
I've got a PlayStation news as well. Head of PlayStation Studios, Herman Hulst, has revealed that over 20 million copies of Horizon Zero Dawn have now been sold across PlayStation 4 and PC. Not a small amount. Hulst additionally revealed that players have spent over 1 billion hours playing through Alloy's debut adventure. I believe that's about 1/10 of RimWorld hours, but you know, good on them. These immersive numbers, impressive numbers, come just a week ahead of Horizon Forbidden West's highly anticipated launch, which we'll talk about later. This sequel to Zero Dawn will take players further than ever into the futuristic yet primal lands of Horizon, as Alloy seeks to find an answer as to why the lands around her are dying. Two things from this. I saw the trailer the other day. I went and watched... what's the PlayStation game that's now a movie? Fuck my life.
Uncharted.
Uncharted. I saw Uncharted this week.
Oh, did you?
I did, yeah.
I want to see that.
Yeah, I highly recommend it, actually, even though everyone's bombing it. I think it was fucking amazing.
Really, are they? Oh, okay.
You know what's good as well? There was loads of trailers, all like PlayStation-linked trailers. And it was,
that makes sense,
they know
doesn't it?
gamers going to watch it,
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, it was awesome, including this one. And I'm telling you what, watching this trailer, it was like a 1.5 minute long one as well, in a cinema was fucking hell. I almost bought a PlayStation there.
I bet. Wow,
I wonder if you could hire a cinema screen to play these games on.
Oh, that'd be so cool. And also, Ben, I think you mentioned this week, didn't you, put on the group chat that Horizon Forbidden West currently sitting at 89% with the critics so far gone on it. So
yeah, it's smashed it. It's doing very well on the reviews.
Yeah,
Actually, so far reviews seem to be going pretty well for the releases this month, because one of the other ones that comes out in a couple of days, Warhammer obviously, is sitting at 90 as well.
Yeah, I think our new releases section is going to be quite tasty this week.
Yeah, just a bit.
But yeah, this story in itself, I mean, 20 million copies of Horizon Zero Dawn, that's pretty fucking impressive, isn't
It's
it?
massive.
And that must have been helped. And I wonder the split between PC and PS4, because obviously it's going to massively sold on PS4. Obviously, one of the biggest games of last generation. But I wonder whether the PC version did add 1 or 2 million onto that.
I bet,
Definitely
because
taking it over the edge, hasn't it?
yeah, because with these games, the huge success of them on PlayStation, and then if you don't own a PlayStation, it's brilliant when they come to PC, because then you can go. I mean, if I was as frivolous with my money as you are, Ben, I would have bought this, Days Gone, God of War's is out on PC as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I would have bought all these bad boys. Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
I highly recommend you do that.
yeah, if it comes on a free trial, then I'll snatch it up.
Ben's bought them on both PlayStation and PC anyway, just because he can.
Both boxes, I presume, as well.
Yeah, I've not double dipped. No.
Not in this one. How many times have you bought The Witcher, Ben?
I have many copies of The Witcher 3 and I've never completed it. But I've got it on every single platform.
You have the option to
Including
complete
Switch.
it any way you possibly want.
Yep, I've got every available option, but you must own it on every platform.
Fantastic. Yeah. I mean, it's difficult to avoid getting it cheap, though, to be fair.
It's very, very hard to not have that game.
Yes.
It's free all the time, whatever.
Well, I mean, yeah, I really wish I had a PlayStation just to play Forbidden West as well. But, you know.
Well, we have this. I mean, it's a bit of a link, but the Steam Deck hardware review previews went live last week, and they look very good. And the reason I say that is because one of the playable games on the Steam Deck, which has been fully verified, is Horizon Zero Dawn.
Nice.
But I'll go into that in a second. So the hardware previews went up. I obviously haven't got the technical expertise to really explain that properly, and I don't think it'd be good podcast material either. But they have been impressive, it would seem. I watched a couple of YouTube videos on it, and read some articles. People have been impressed with the performance, and the software side, people have only been limited to playing a couple of games like Devil May Cry 5, Forza Horizon, games like that to kind of do their tests on. But temperatures of the system seem good, and battery life, which is important to a lot of people, and that's understandable. So that seems reasonable. Don't expect the earth. I think for a AAA game, you're looking at between 2 and 3 hours.
Okay.
I think that's where you're at. Indie games, they were able to test Dead Cells. I think Valve had said you can get almost 8 hours on Dead Cells, and I think the test that people did got it around 6.5.
Nice. Okay.
But I think the testers would have been playing the game as opposed to, or like had the character moving, as opposed to Valve, who would just have it on the start screen, I guess.
Yeah, of course.
So that's the difference. But overall, the feel of the device was said to be fairly comfortable, and you can reach all the buttons, but it's not optimal comfort. It's not. But I think that's the same to be said of a lot of these handheld systems. But because of the concessions they've had to make for the number of inputs, because it's got to play PC games, remember?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a bit unwieldy, and it is massive compared to the Switch.
Yeah.
But even the Switch is the base Switch without a grip. Like, I find that not great to play with. So I think all these handheld systems, they're not perfect. But the biggest thing I wanted to bring up about this was that Valve have been testing a lot of the Steam library, because what's going to be going forward on Steam, you're going to be able to see whether a game is verified or playable or unsupported for the Steam Deck.
Excellent.
So this is the biggest thing for me that I fell down with on the One X player that I had, and it's the same with the iNeo and systems like that. Because it's a mini PC, you're basically just buying PC games and then trying to make them work.
Yeah.
And especially with systems like that, because they are low spec gaming PCs, it's hard to know whether something's going to work or not. You end up sending a lot of games back on Steam. But Valve are going through their games, and they've gone through publicly gone through 580 games so far. And they've verified 309 of those. And what that means is it's as if the game was natively designed for that console. or Steam Deck. Nice. So you've got God of War, you've got Horizon Zero Dawn, you've got Sekiro, Death Stranding, all those types of games, those AAA games, they all work on the Steam Deck. They work. Then you have the next tier down, which is called playable, and of that 580, they've said 211 are playable, and that would be a bit more PC type games like Inscription and Valheim is in that list, and The Witcher 3 for some reason is in that playable list, not the verified list. And then you have another tier down, which is the unsupported games, of which there are only 60 so far on the 580 games. So Master Chief Collection is unsupported, and I had trouble playing Halo 1 and 3 from the Master Chief Collection on my One X player. I could play Halo 2 for some reason, but not 1 and 3. Persona 4, Fall Guys, Fortnite, they're other examples of ones which are currently unsupported. But those games which are like Persona 4, you wouldn't expect there'd be any reason why that is unsupported. So over time, I think some of these will go up the pecking order of going into playable and then verified.
Yeah.
But you know, I think what I love about this is that PC gaming for me is a faff. It's a faff because things always go fucking wrong, and then things don't work or things crash and all this kind of stuff. And I know that happens with console games, but what this turns this in is a real hybrid of PC gaming. It allows you to actually see whether somebody said, yes, that game fucking works, or no, it's playable, meaning there are some concessions for it being in handheld or something like that. Yeah. Like I just think that's brilliant. It gets rid of everything I don't like about PC gaming.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I think Valve are going through a lot of their library, and I did read that they were trying to get through like shit tons of this library before it comes out. So, and I think that's just going to go on and on. And I think it may have to be a bit of a prerequisite for new games coming out on Steam where it says whether it's playable or not. So, I look forward to that going forward.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I'm going to be very interested when the Steam Deck actually arrives, but I didn't see this, so I clearly need to go back and watch that.
Well, it's released at the end of this month for the first batch. So the first batch will be released. I think I'm second batch. I anticipate getting mine June-ish. Okay. June, July, I reckon. I'd be really happy if I got it then. I don't. It's not exactly going to be a seamless release, but I am, as you say, I'm really interested when people have actually got this in their hands, because despite the specs being comparable or lower in places to like the handheld PC that I've got, this will be better. I think the architecture is better. I think the architecture is more in line with the next gen consoles. So I think I'm really excited, anticipating something good from the Steam Deck.
Yeah, and it's pretty much made for you. It really is. Like,
I think so.
Yeah, I don't think Eddie or I are going to rush to get one because we quite like computer gaming.
Yeah, sorry.
As it is, PC gaming as it is. But I would be really interested to see how it works and whether it runs as well as it should do. And the good thing with those battery lifespan is you think that covers most travel times you're going to look at, doesn't it? Which is kind of the key for things like this.
I think it is, and I'm not averse to having things plugged in, even in handheld, even having my Switch plugged in or something. Yeah. They did do one of the YouTube videos I watched. They were playing Devil May Cry 5 on the best settings they could, and they had it plugged in, and they said it charged. It didn't lose battery when it was plugged in. Nice. So that is also a massive plus, isn't it? So
yeah, that's huge.
So you can actually play it infinitely on a charge.
Exactly. So. Awesome. Yeah, that's a big plus. So I suppose for the final news of the week as well, I thought I'd just mention, did you see about Halo's music issues this week, or more accurately, the composers' issues?
So there's something about them suing them, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this is a bit of a rabbit hole to go into, but I'll keep it quite light. But this is Martin O'Donnell and Mike Salvatore, who created the iconic Halo music used by Bungie in the original games. Yes, the Gregorian chanting. Thank you, Eddie. Yeah, as well as the. Do you want to do the one as well? You know,
that's Star Wars. Is that what you were going to do there?
No, but that's the other bit that everyone remembers. But anyway, the creators of that music have now ended up in a big legal dispute with Microsoft. And Martin O'Donnell made quite a lot of comments recently about this. So it's quite a difficult one to unpack because and this is just a throwaway note, they're also still in a lawsuit with Bungie, separately from Microsoft, over music issues, in which they are the defendant, whereas in this case Microsoft are the defendant. So there's a lot of messy things going on here, but fundamentally it comes down to O'Donnell says that he and Salvatore, trading as Donnell Salvatore Inc., created and licensed the Halo music to Bungie in a deal that remained in place even as the company was bought by Microsoft, and ahead of the launch of Halo Combat Evolved. Microsoft, in response, are saying that no, it qualified as work for hire, which means that Microsoft own and qualify as the author of that work. And in response to that, O'Donnell said it was never a work for hire, it was always a license deal, so that's what we did with Halo. With the first music ever that was written and recorded in 1999 for the first time, it was licensed to Bungie. Bungie didn't get bought by Microsoft for over a year after that. So it becomes a bit of a messy situation, especially when you consider that 10 days later or so, around the time of the music's creation, O'Donnell became a Bungie employee. And then became a full-time Microsoft employee when Bungie was bought by Microsoft. So it gets pretty interesting at that stage. And
it's weird that these things are brought up 20 years later.
Yeah, and that's kind of actually the line he takes with this, which is apparently he told them directly when he was in there that they'd bought a license deal for the music and that no one at Microsoft actually kind of understood that. And no one really paid enough attention to it. And he obviously didn't flag it hard enough because he didn't want to lose his job at the time. So it's just one of those things that's bubbled on under the surface until they've gone, hang on, this music's still being used in Halo Infinite.
Right.
Well, that would imply to me that he didn't really know what was going on either.
Or,
because if you wait 20 years, if I'm owed license fee income, I'm owed license fee. It's pretty clear cut. You think it would be clear cut either way. I don't know.
I don't know, Ben, because his logic was probably, if I kick up a fuss about this, I could A, be wrong, and B, lose my job. And then I've got nothing.
But you can't lose it. I mean,
well, they can push him out, Ben. If he tried to sue him, they could push him
20
out.
years ago. I mean, 20 years worth of licensing fees. I'm not going to be popping that on the back burner.
Well, this is the thing. So it's all the sort of stuff like ancillary royalties, which would go into movies and television, which obviously there've been a few Halo things with that already, and there's another one lined up.
Of course.
It's basically all the royalties from everywhere. They've just been getting a check every 3 months. Salvatore and O'Donnell and going, this looks really, really low, but never being given a breakdown of what that money related to, how much it made, or anything like this.
Okay.
Right.
So it's a bit of a mess by the sounds of it.
But ultimately, I imagine Microsoft can stomach any payment that's necessary if they thought they were wrong.
Yeah, they're probably not pinching the pennies when it comes to this, unless they really had to tie it tight to get Activision going. But it's probably one of those things they don't want to fight over anyway. There's going to be plenty of lawyers at Microsoft trying to stop this being a thing. But
I think the big thing is that this could that nobody wants anything to interfere with the upcoming Halo TV show.
Yeah.
Like, nobody wants to overshadow it. Nobody wants to interfere with the launch of it and all this kind of stuff, I suppose. So,
if the theme music isn't in it, I will refuse to watch it.
Oh, that's a strong stance, and I respect that.
yeah.
We'll tell you how good the program is, and
Please
then
don't,
we'll remind
'cause
you
I'm
that
really looking forward to it.
then we'll remind you that you can't watch it because the theme tune's not in it.
Or just release it with dead silence all the way through the credits at the beginning. It's like, we're making a point. It would be so bad.
Yeah, just say it's on these guys.
Or maybe they'll hire Eddie to do his rendition of it.
Oh, I'd do it. I'd do it for free as well.
It's so dissimilar that it doesn't cause a problem with copyright.
Eddie would do it for free, and then in years' time, when he's on the brink of bankruptcy, he'll bring up the fact that he had a license deal.
Yeah, that he's a member of the ASCAP and actually has a license deal working with it. That would be a fantastic move, to be fair. But yeah, either way, I thought because obviously everyone's so familiar with that music and it's such an iconic piece of the franchise, it was quite interesting to see how much of a mess it is behind the scenes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, I think we should move on to new releases.
It's a big week, though.
It's a very big week. Yeah, no pressure.
It's a biggie. And let me start off with the biggest of them all. King of Fighters 15. Coming out on PC, PlayStation, and Xboxes February 17th. Shatter all expectations! Why is that all in capitals? Isn't that like marketing rule 101? Don't put things in capitals. I thought that was like... Anyway.
Well, I mean, all of our YouTube videos are in capitals.
Oh, really? Do you do that?
Yeah, we do that.
Yeah,
we shout.
Don't do that. It's like marketing rule 101. Do not put things in capitals. People find it irritating.
I'm sorry. King of Fighters have done it, and they've had 14 previous games.
Well, you can't argue with that, can you? Yeah, well played. Transcend beyond your limits of KOF 15. Last time it was like XV, but then that will work. This is a Street Fighter game. It does have a big cult following. I never liked any of these because when I was a kid, you know, being like, oh, I'm good at computer games. So exactly what I say now. My mum jumped on to Tekken and just hammered the buttons like a Neanderthal hitting a club into the floor. And she beat me every single time.
Yep, that makes sense. Yeah.
Don't play these games anymore. Yeah. On that note, my dad messaged me after last week's podcast when I said that Mum was 70. My dad said, your mother is not 70, she's 63. Which is really nice, because I was like, oh, that's really nice. My dad listens to the podcast. But here's another one. He went, she's not on level 1000 of... whatever, Candy Crush. She's on level 4,119.
Jesus. That's a lot of levels. That's a lot of levels.
That's a lot of levels. Anyway, let's move on. The big one, the biggest, some might argue, for PC fans. Total War Warhammer 3, coming out on PC, February 17th. The cataclysmic... Oh, Pete, I swear. I swear you just do this.
That's the best one yet.
Cataclysmic. It's a horrible word to say anyway. Conclusion to the Total War Warhammer trilogy is coming. Rally your forces and step into the realm of chaos. A dimension of mind-bending horror where the very fate of the world will be decided. Will you conquer your demons or command them? I see what they've done there, because you can take control of chaos. I've put nobody cares, because who cares? I'm very, very excited. Me and Pete have released a video on this, actually. Let me plug that. Plug the pug on YouTube and look it up.
YouTube.
Pete, are you, I assume you're day one. You might be purchasing it, though, mightn't you, Pete, even though it's on Game Pass?
I am, I have, and it's waiting to preload. And the reason I didn't go for... Game Pass obviously is because I want the combined map, so I just I did that mental arithmetic in my head, or mental gymnastics more accurately in my head, and went, I'm going to pay for it anyway, so I may as well pay for it now.
Yeah. Yeah,
so just 50 quid gone. But it's also so I can preload it.
It's one of those, Pete, that this is... I mean, I don't know your hours, but I reckon this is probably in your top 3 most played games of all time. Warhammer 2, I should say, yeah?
Yeah, massively, yeah.
So I support the developers. Like, I bought those RimWorld add-ons when I didn't care. I bought Warband on PlayStation and played it for about 34 minutes and then put it down. Because it's nice to support developers that are actually, you know, making games that you love, so I'm not against that.
Speaking of, Eddie, I actually bought Royalty and Ideology this week as well.
Oh, there you go.
So I will be playing them quite soon.
He has a lot to play.
I do. I've got a condensed week before Elden Ring as well.
I'm gonna play. Warhammer 3 as well.
Are you?
Wow. Well, it's on Game Pass. Why wouldn't you?
It's on Game Pass, and I've been really wanting to have a PC game to be playing and a strategy PC game. So the fact that this is the very best of them, this will be the very best of them, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, the review embargo lifted Monday this week, the 14th February. So Valentine's Day is what I mean there. And most of the reviews so far have been really good. There have been a couple saying that for now it's a wait. I will add in a couple of those who are like the biggest streamers who've said like you might want to wait because a couple of patches. How can it be a wait?
It's a fucking 90 on Metacritic. How can it be a wait?
But the other thing you should remember with this as well is they're saying that partially because of the fact that within a few weeks or within a month or so we'll have the bigger map. So they might well be saying wait for that.
just fucking enjoy something when it's available.
Yeah, true. And that said as well, one other thing they've all mentioned is, and I say all because everyone I've seen who's played it has mentioned it, the tutorial is apparently amazing. Like really fun, really good story.
Eurogamer
Really
said that. They said
nice.
Eurogamer said tutorials in games are often like the worst part. It's very hard to do a good tutorial, but this was an absolute treat.
Yeah,
and that is what swung it for me, Pete, because you know how much I fucking hate learning new games.
Yes.
Yeah, but Ben, you know what's even more impressive about this is if there's one thing they didn't need to make a tutorial on is a Warhammer 3 Total War game, because how many people who are playing this game have already played a Total War game?
Yeah, to be fair, I'm pretty sure I've got most of it.
Yeah, I reckon you'll be all right. You might have some interesting battles.
An enjoyable tutorial, though, is a treat.
Yeah, massively. And
because
apparently,
I remember, and I know this is rocking about the years, but not Age of Empires, Civilization 2. The tutorial in Civilization 2 was one of my best ever games. Because you just carry on after you've done the tutorial part. It's one of my best ever games. I fucking loved it, and I love when a tutorial does that.
Yeah. I will say the one for Crusader Kings 3 was really good for that as well.
I was going to say Crusader Kings 2, Pete. That was a really good
also good. Yeah. So,
but Crusader Kings 3 just had so much fucking reading.
I bet you didn't even have to say it out loud afterwards, so I'm not sure why you struggled so much.
I know, but I just struggle with reading in general, so...
Good.
So, yeah. But I will be playing this, so...
Excellent. Well, it's available to preload as of now. You can literally start loading it already.
I'll do that after the show.
Yeah, there you go.
Right, next one. Horizon Forbidden West, coming out on PlayStation's February 18th. Big one. The blurb is something I've already said, so I'm not even going to bother with that.
Right.
Huge release, as I said, 89% Metacritic. I think we're all excited to hear about it from Ben. I assume you are going to get it.
It's pre-ordered. It'll be available. The only downside of pre-ordering is that you got to wait for the post.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I've been excited for it this week after seeing the reviews and it just looks sensational. They're saying it's like the best looking next gen game that's out there, and also if you've got a PS4, the reviews have also said that it runs very well on a PS4. So, awesome. Excellent. Like it seems to be an upgrade on every area of the first one, and the world building seems up there with the very best of games. So, I wasn't that excited for Horizon. I'm not gonna lie. I think if regular listeners might have, I think when we did the Offshore Gamescast special episode and we talked about Horizon, I think I said like I wasn't that hyped for it, but it's taken me to a few days before, and I was like, right, pre-order done. It wasn't like I wasn't going to play it, but I'm really looking forward to this one. It's
a shame she looks really fat though, isn't it? Yeah.
The thing is, like when you're actually looking at the reviews and stuff, like, I don't know what people were fucking on about.
I know.
Like,
I have no idea. Even when I was watching the trailer the other day, I was like, I whispered to my missus, I was like, apparently she's supposed to be fat.
Eddie, you know when like everyone came out with that, like screenshots and stuff like that? Like, I watched the gameplay again that they showed us at that time, and I was like, I don't know what planet are people on? Yeah. Why do they pick these fucking screenshots to look at? We've already talked about our screenshots of fucking nonsense. The exact moment. Exactly. Fucking Kirk finding he probably sent it to people. He probably started it on Twitter. Fucking Kirk with his screenshots.
It was all Kirk. Don't even know if he even played Forbidden West, but it was all Kirk, clearly.
Oh, yeah, not even sure if he played the first
Zero
one.
Zero Dawn even, yeah.
I think he did have a PlayStation back then. He played God of War and stuff, so he might have played Horizon. So we'll have to ask him next week.
Awesome. Yeah, looking forward to that, Ben. So give us a shout on the what you've been playing. Next one, Destiny 2, The Witch Queen. It's a DLC coming out on PC, PlayStations, Xboxes, and Stadia. February 22nd, that one. Nice try, Pete, putting the big blurb there for me to fuck up on.
It's a long blurb, actually.
Come on, it's a really good blurb.
I bet he's made up some words in there as well. Yeah, look, some words that don't make sense there. So
is
I'm not going to read it.
That threw you off, or I don't know?
Pete, I think it was clarity, just looking at the blurb. Actually. That's a
I was
big
just
word.
looking at the blurb, Pete, and I thought, ponder. He's gonna go, ponder?
Ponder? Because I don't know the word ponder. So I'm not going to read it because it's DLC, but I've looked into it. It adds a big campaign, a new raid within a pyramid ship. I hope that makes sense to people that play this game. And even more weapons, including the new glaive special weapon type. It will also introduce a new weapon crafting system and quality of life changes. So I think if you like your Destiny 2, I think this should be quite a big one.
Yeah. Destiny 2 just keeps rocking on and on, doesn't it? And yeah, as I've said before, I played a lot of Destiny. I played a fair bit of Destiny 2, not massives, but Destiny's such a good fucking game. So and people this week, I mean, we talked about Total War, Warhammer 3, Horizon, and Destiny 2. There's something for everyone here, isn't there?
I know. It's just a spark to memory. Pete, what was the game that you tried to get all of us into playing? Was that Destiny 2?
It was Destiny 2, yeah.
Holy shit, I've played Destiny 2. I've chucked in about 20 hours of that.
Yeah, I bought it day one.
Yeah.
Because I pounded Destiny 1.
Yeah.
So
we got it for free, Pete, didn't we? What the
we
heck?
did, yeah. But we
it's
all
free
then
to play now.
failed to commit.
Right. I chucked in like 20 hours. I enjoyed it, but it was just, and people are going to hate me for this, it just seemed a bit like a poor man's Halo to me.
No.
Yeah, sorry.
It was the new man's Halo.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was much... anyway, it was much...
Poor man's
Bungie
Halo.
know how to do shooters. That's all we'll say.
Next one, Ghosts. Coming out on PC, PlayStations, Xboxes and Switch, February 22nd. Fuck me, Pete. What are you doing here? All right, I'm going to read it.
Good.
Ghosts is a full-motion video horror game stepped into the shoes of Night Trap, Phantasmagoria, and The Seventh Guest. It's a real-time live-action game, which means that it has to be played at 10 p.m. in your local time zone. The game takes inspiration from the works of Manx screenwriter Nigel Neal and the blurring of fact and fiction in the found footage movies from the last 25 years. However, unlike previous games in this oft-forgotten genre, we're creating a horror experience that aims to truly chill your blood and send full-motion video games screaming into the modern day. First of all, fuck you, Pete, for putting all that. Second of all, it's a movie game, so it reminds me of like Bandersnatch, as opposed to other games where it's actually more game focused. I have no interest, but I've got to admit I did like the fact that so if you try and log in to play the game any other time apart from 10, it's just a black screen. And if you like quit halfway through the game or you lose connection or whatever, it kills all the characters and that's it. So I think it's quite an interesting fact because it might actually draw a lot of people to the game at that time in your local time.
It's a very interesting approach. I will say as well, Eddie, this was an impossible blurb to find, so I literally just grabbed stuff off their website.
Yeah, because there's no like game footage and anything, is there?
No,
which I assume
nothing.
they've done it on purpose so that when you log on, it's all like,
Have you guys seen on Game Pass Telling Lies by Annapurna Interactive?
I've seen the title, yeah.
That's one of these kind of like live action movie games where you make decisions and different things happen and it goes down, like Bandersnatch kind of stuff. That one's supposed to be really good as well. Like these types of games intrigue me, and I really want to play Telling Lies. I suggested Abby to play that because I thought it'd be a nice thing to do together, make the decisions together and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like that's what I imagine this game might be good for. But to limit the time someone can play, like this game. You said it was hard to get a blurb for it, so it's going to have maybe 10 people interested. You've just cut 5 people out.
Yeah.
You're
probably going to lose 2 or 3 more when they give up after half an hour.
Yeah, so 1, maybe 2 people might do this game.
I mean, it's smashing Fallout 76 with those numbers, but yeah.
It's competing. It's certainly competing.
Yeah, but it's... I mean, I don't think it's trying to be a huge
really
smash.
bringing back the old school jokes when Kurt wasn't around.
I know, when we were funny, yeah. No, I mean, I just think it's an interesting game and I'll be following what happens with it, even though I probably will not bother tuning in at 10 p.m. to play this.
Yeah. Neither will I. I think it's a good idea. Ben, to go back on what you said, I think it's like they're kind of not admitting they're not a real game, but kind of going, we're not competing like another game would. We're saying this is a Maybe like they're just trying to start their own thing. Like this, and you never know. This could be something.
They might be trying to push this on Twitch as well, because it might be something that might stream quite well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd like to keep an eye on it to see what happens.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, that's coming out on February 12th. Next one, Sol Cresta, coming out on PC, PlayStation 4, Switch, February 22nd. Dock, split, and form up. Pilot 3 ships and free the solar system from the clutches of evil in these free-form shooting game. How do I describe this? This looks like every single arcade game from the 90s.
It does, doesn't it?
If you walked into an arcade in any year of the 90s and you just walked up to any machine, this would be it. And
I don't like agreeing with you ever on principle, but yeah, you're right.
A wise stance to take. But yes, you are completely right.
Yeah. It's I won't be playing this over Warhammer 3 or Horizon. So, just going to say that. Next one, Tiny Combat Arena, coming out on PC, February 22nd. Tiny Combat Arena is an approachable combat flight simulator sporting a stylized look and various game modes. Dogfight your way in the arena and in quick action, or craft your own scenarios and take part in a vast war with objectives and friendly armies to support. Yeah, so it's like a plane kind of simulator war game. I like the art style. The art style's very different. Listeners, look it up. It looks almost simplified, but it actually like seamlessly works. I will add, it looks quite simplified, but when I looked into it, there is like a detailed and useful database, and in this database, it has all sorts of like interesting stats, like weak armor points, and like these are very good at shooting from this range. So it actually, if you want to be really good at it, you can actually like go into detail and figure out like what to do and where and what to target. So what do you guys think? I actually quite like the look of this.
I don't actually remember looking at it.
I don't like the art style. I don't like the art style at all.
Nice. Very balanced. There we're back to the usual level of agreement across the team.
Yeah, it's not for me.
To be fair, Ben, do you like any art style other than like hyper realism?
High end, like Uber.
I tell you what. There's one off your list that is coming out this week, Eddie. That's been omitted. We did get a review code from Runic Games for Red Colony 3, and we have a review on YouTube for it. So go check it out. Grumpy Gamers Podcast. So that has a hand drawn art style, and that looks very nice. It's a decent little indie game coming out on the Switch on the 17th of February. So check out the review on YouTube because in what we've been playing, we've just got some big games that we need to get through. So it's not going to make it on that list. But yeah, check out YouTube.
Awesome.
Okay. That just reminded me. My dad messaged me this week, as he does every 6 months. I don't think he remembers that he actually asked me this, but he asked me, Chris, can you download Dark Colony onto my computer? Now, I don't know if you remember Dark Colony. Do you remember that? It came out.
No, I don't.
Here we are. It came out in 1997. Right?
I was going to say.
And I keep on telling you every time Dad asks me.
It's the RTS, right?
Yeah, it's you've played it. I remember we talked about it ages ago. It was so good when it came out, and I don't know why it's not on like GOG or any of these websites. It must be so old that it's kind of died and forgotten. But what's really interesting, I was like, right, what I'll do this time is I'll find some games by the same publishers and by the same developers, and then maybe Dad will like that. And I looked at it. It's fucking Take-Two Interactive. They published it. How the fuck? How has the Dark Colony got under the radar with those bad boys?
If I'm right as well,
yeah,
I think the actual developer became Rockstar Toronto or something.
Oh really?
Yeah, I'm going to look this up. Bear with me,
developers, Rockstar Toronto. Yep.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
Knowledge is the bomb.
Yeah, there you go, guys. So, right, anyway, getting back on track. That is all the new releases. What a beautiful week.
Beautiful week. Yeah. February, the big month of gaming.
Yeah, and I mean, in the biggest news of all, it means that next week I will actually have something for what we've been playing.
Like too much.
That's I mean,
next week's what we've been playing is fucking rammed full of bangers.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty hench, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, assuming work allows me any time to play any games, but it will because it's Warhammer 3.
I'm sure you will find time for Warhammer 3.
I will sacrifice what little social life I have to make.
You will
Warhammer
give
3
yourself coronavirus so you could take a week off to play that, Pete.
That's actually a good option. I hadn't thought of that. I like your thinking, Eddie. But yes. So next week it is going to be stacked. But for this week, I'm afraid I've got nothing, and obviously Kirk didn't show up, so he's got nothing. So it's you two.
Shall I start off with Dying Light 2 then? Because I've not got so much more to add on that one, but I'll start on that one. So I've played more, obviously, but I'm starting to think that the zombie game, like kind of genre, it needs to develop games a bit differently. It does feel a little bit like we've seen it all before.
Yeah.
And they definitely do develop ideas in this in Dying Light here, but there seems to be a reason that, like The Last of Us 2, they moved very much away from the zombies in the second one as being the focus. There are obviously zombies in it and zombie parts and everything, but it's very much a story of people.
Yeah.
And so you could argue that about Dying Light, but the zombies are just so fucking prominent in this. I'm still playing it, and as I said, what I do like is the decisions that you can make. Like I got to a point where somebody had wronged me, and they were doing what they thought was right, but then you have a decision. You can either help them, or you can go and deal with this other person and align with them. And it's like, I don't want to align with that other person, but no, fuck you. So you make that decision, and you're like, okay, good. I did a thing that changed the course of my story compared to other people's story. So I do quite like that. But there's a few more days until Horizon comes out. We've got Warhammer coming out, and I fear that this game really is going to be left in the dust. And I think if you haven't bought it already, like, there are just so many good games. Elden Ring coming out. I was
going to say,
that it's going to be really hard. And now with the Cyberpunk patch, that makes it even harder for Dying Light. And I just, like, it feels they've made a lot of changes. The world is different and everything, but it still feels like Dying Light 1 in a weird way. And so what I'd say is it's decent. That's my current opinion.
Strong words.
I just don't know whether I am going to have the drive I need to start completing some of these big games. A game like Elden Ring, I absolutely will. A game like Horizon, I absolutely will.
Yeah.
And Dying Light is the one that can be dropped, and I feel like it might be coming to its time.
I will say I completely agree on the zombies being played out. Vampires as well, but zombies. I thought the twist in this one of staying human was a cool one.
Yes.
But yeah, I can see what you mean. And it's the same thing The Walking Dead, the TV show, did, isn't it? As you mentioned with Last of Us 2, of it becomes a story about humans as opposed to anything else, which then begs the question of why aren't you playing RimWorld, really? If you're just looking for a story about humans, you may as well play RimWorld.
Every day.
Yeah. But interesting. Decent is, huge praise, clearly. No.
Huge praise.
Sorry, Dying Light, you've got to go to the back of the queue because there's way too many other things.
That's the problem with.
That's it.
Have you found, Ben? I'm really bad for this. When I know like a game is coming up, if I buy like another game before it just to spend time, there's no part of my brain that gets absorbed by that game.
You're so right. Like I'm playing this game and I'm like, I've got 3 days till Horizon.
Yeah.
Like, so what can I possibly do with this massive game?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter that I'm 15, 20 hours in. It doesn't matter. You're not beating this game.
Yeah.
So, and you're like, well, and I will, if it's a choice between fucking Aiden or Aloy, it's done. Like, the decision's been made. So, like, I don't. So it's a tough one. This month, like, it's gonna have so many good games coming out that it's almost like we need a March where there's not much because I need to go back to these games. But are you going to want to go back to these games after you've completed Elden Ring and Horizon? You're like, wow, they were amazing. Can I be bothered to pick up Dying Light 2? I don't know. But it is good. It is good. It's just,
timing. And this is the thing, by the way. I could probably have played a game last night, but all I want to do is play Warhammer 3 this week until it's out.
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. Unless there was a 2-hour experience, or you were jumping back in or something, or like you're jumping back into Cyberpunk just to see how it looks, but you played it on PC anyway, so that doesn't even make an impact.
Exactly.
So it's like, well, you just wait around, and I find myself, and it's weird because we're in the gaming month, the month of months, but this week, like, I have played games, but I haven't really been invested in anything overly.
We're all just waiting on Elden Ring, really, aren't we? That's the key one.
Yeah. Well, I was playing Dying Light 2. This is probably, and take from this what you want. I was playing Elden Ring. I wish. I was playing Dying Light 2 on Saturday, and I just looked at my work computer and said, I could do that work. and I did that.
That's a sign of a solid game.
Yeah, exactly. So take from that what you will, but I went back to work instead.
Fantastic. Well, what about you, Eddie?
I almost bought Dying Light 1, Ben, actually.
Oh, yeah. Good game.
I'm in between games at the moment, and I fancied... I was willing to, with the old gaming limbo... No matter, it's like the further I get into gaming limbo, the more money I'm willing to spend. Yeah. And I looked up Dying Light.
That's brilliant, yeah.
And it was only 12 quid, so I was like, oh, okay. But I was like, what I should do is I'll just play something that keeps my time until Warhammer 3 comes out. Because we all know I'm going to chuck probably hundreds of hours into that. Thousands, maybe. And so I just played Rory McIlroy PGA Tour 2015, that game. And I was playing it, and I was really enjoying the mechanics and stuff, the old golf game, and just whacking it down the fairway. It's a very simple game, and it's very, very shit, but I was really enjoying just, like, trying to be the best. So what I did is I was like, right, how about I actually get a good golf game? Ben, you told me ages ago you reviewed PGA Tour 2K21, didn't you?
Yes.
I mean, about probably 6 months ago, I think. But
about 6 months ago. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember you saying on that there was a better career mode. So I was like, oh, I'll tell you what, I'll get it. And then lo and behold, I think it was 4 days ago until this morning, it was free. It was on Game Pass Ultimate.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. I had no idea, and it just came up with, do you want to just install it? And I was like, oh, brilliant. I'll be honest, I had no idea it was only for a certain amount of time. It was only when I woke up early today to play it.
Oh no, it had gone off Game Pass.
And it was going like, you need to log in to play this game. And when, after logging out, logging in, doing all the crap, it says in small print, oh, it might have come off Game Pass. But it was only a weekend thing because it's a publisher sale at the moment. It's weird because the other sale, the 2K publishers, developers, fuck me, is actually on sale at the moment in Steam, and it's still going on at the moment. But this ran out this morning. But I've chucked in over the past 5 days or whatever, 30 hours worth. So
nice.
Yeah,
kids been playing.
Pulling some shifts, yeah.
I've been playing
working a second job.
I've been playing it, so I was like, you know what? I'll chuck down. It's 12 quid, so it's 75% off at the moment. Fuck knows how they can charge 50 quid for a game like that, but hey ho. So yeah, I've been playing that quite a bit. It's so much better than Rory McIlroy. I know Rory McIlroy came out 5 years before because this came out in 2020. But it's night and day. You play this game and you go, how did Rory McIlroy PGA Tour? How was that a game? How were they forgiven to make such a bad game? Like, no professional voices, no characters, no real career mode, no nothing. Even the mechanics are worse. Like, it's just an absolute dumpster fire of a game when you compare it to this game. But I love this game. I love it because I've whacked up the difficulty. I'm at ×2 for experience. If anyone who plays this, they'll know how hard that is. I think the highest you can get is like 2.14 or something. So I'm right up there. It took me about 15 hours of playing to get past the very first stage of the career mode, which, after looking into it, was actually too long. People were like, you normally complete that after an hour. So I looked at how to help myself, and you can recalibrate your swing so it recognises like your kind of motion, nice. Which again is another thing that this game has on everything else. I'm really, really enjoying it. I even played all Sunday, and honestly, I've never experienced this before. I was so happy. Like, in the evening, I was sitting down for my evening meal, and I was, like, excited to go back, but I felt relaxed. I had the best night's sleep of my life on Sunday.
It's amazing, because whenever we play real golf, I never feel like that.
No!
Pure
Pure
sleep well.
frustration.
Yeah.
But it's great as well, because I'm not doing well either on this game, and that's what I love. I've won one round of golf out of probably 80 odd rounds of golf. So it makes me feel realistic. You know, the fact that I'm never at the top, but I'm always, you know, kind of there. It could be my tournament soon. I'm really enjoying it. I've got to admit, the only thing I will say is, even though I've sung its praises massively, why haven't they just spent time making a career mode on a golf game? Because even this has so many flaws in it. They don't have
Eddie,
where you can buy attributes.
Massive. That was my big thing with this game. That. I don't understand why they don't just go, right, what makes a good career mode?
Yes.
And I think this career mode, it has it, except for I wish performance then gave you upgrade abilities to upgrade your power and things like that, and your spin, and you just want.
I remember in the old
progression.
I think it was Tiger Woods games. It was great because it had replayability. Because you would obviously, like everyone, you'd go for power straight away. But then when you got to like 100 powers, you could whack everything miles.
Yes,
you actually realise, oh, hang on, putting is really important. And then
the Bryson DeChambeau approach to golf. Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't understand what they. Don't get me wrong. They've got quirky things like you know, you can buy clubs with different things. But I found myself, Ben, after 2 hours, I could buy all the clubs. So
yeah, that was my thing with the, like, you can get all the clubs basically from the off, and I found it very, very fiddly to change your clubs in your bag as well.
And it takes a long time to load. Haven't you noticed that?
It does take a long time to load.
It's like fine to change my driver, which I do every other game, so that I can test which courses are better for longer drivers. It takes like 6 fucking taps or screens, and each screen for some reason takes about 3 seconds to load every time.
My main thing about this game is that in my mind, it's a golf simulator, and this was made by the same people who made the golf club,
right? Yeah.
And so basically, they got the people that made the golf club, and then they gave them all the branding, the PGA Tour branding, and they went, right, make a game that is the two. And I'm all for a game where you don't have like mini games in your career mode, which then you can put your stats up by how you put. I'm all for like your performance in your competition stuff, and then you get to build your stats. Like, I think that's more realistic and it's better. I like that. I don't understand why they don't do it. This game, like, you can only use your own character, can't you? You can't play like as a professional, like that, as a real life professional. So that's one thing. But that's one thing that's not in the game. But okay, I can live with that as long as the career mode was good enough. But what got me was that the progression in the career mode is only your own ability at getting better at the game.
Yes,
and that's what got me. And if you're happy with that, this is brilliant. And as you've said, like, and I know you've put it up to basically top difficulty, the amazing thing about this game is that it has incredible difficulty scaling.
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
And for a person like you, Eddie, where you want to challenge yourself to the absolute max, and you want to be punished, and then when you actually come through and you're winning comps, you're like, I've genuinely beaten the game. Like, and that's
honestly, Ben, when I won my first match, I was over the moon. Like, I couldn't stop smiling. When I chipped in for the very first time, you should have seen me. I was like taken back to a little schoolboy, like completing a Sonic game. I couldn't stop smiling. I saved it on the fucking replay, and then I watched it again, and I went, all right, that's not that impressive. Don't tell anyone that you've recorded that, because that's really embarrassing. But you know,
but it's brilliant because the putting as well. You take off all the hints and tips and lines, and it's just like, you got to read these, and it's fucking difficult, and you can go really wrong.
Yeah.
So absolutely. It's a really good golf simulator.
Yeah,
I've literally just bought it actually. You mentioning the sale, Eddie, just made me pop on Steam and buy it because I've had it on my wish list forever. I did.
You've played the golf club, haven't you?
And really enjoyed it. So yeah, just picked it up. That's 75% off for sure.
Yeah, 75%. I think it's £12, and it's know what I put. I reckon with the difficulty setting that I've got at the moment, I reckon I could dangerously chuck hundreds and hundreds of hours into this.
Well, this is your winter golf as opposed to, going in the rain and playing golf.
Well, exactly, yeah. I've got a tee-off time booked tomorrow afternoon, but it's 100% rain chance, so I'm going to...
It's getting harder to get out at the moment.
But the funny thing is, Pete, the first 20 hours of playing this game, I was getting better scores in real life than I was on a fucking computer game. That shows how brutal this game can be.
Perfect, yeah. Love that. Excellent.
Fantastic.
But that's me.
Good stuff.
Ben, you've got the big one. Yeah.
I've got a new one. So I bought Sifu on PS5. It's also available on PS4. I gave in to the FOMO because everyone was talking about it. So
yeah, who were we watching stream it the other week?
Yeah, we were watching.
Alana Pierce,
the girl.
We were watching Alana Pierce, weren't we? And then I went home and I watched another stream, and I was like, okay. Oh, go on then. Go on. He twisted my arm. It's like 30 quid. So, in terms of PS5 games, it's a relative bargain.
It's absolute steal.
It's an absolute steal. As if I didn't have enough to play in February. I've got Sifu, and Dying Light definitely took a bit of a back seat as a result of this. But anyway, so it's a PS4, PS5 console exclusive. You can get it on PC. It's on the Epic Store. It's not on Steam. It's on the Epic Store at the moment. I think that's probably a timed exclusive for the Epic Store. So it's based in China. For those that don't know, you play a man or a woman. Obviously, I play a woman because I'm endlessly trying to get a smaller hitbox. So I don't take as much damage.
Even though it makes no difference at all. But
it makes absolutely no difference. Pete.
Never has.
No difference.
Yeah.
No, never has. Never has. I've never found a game where it does, but I will always try that. But the story is basically you're looking to get revenge on your father's murder. Basically going after the guys that killed him. I think, as I remember, you were killed at the same time, but you were carrying this like necklace that brings you back to life.
Right.
So basically, years later, you're now a kung fu expert, and you're 20 years old, and you're going out to get your revenge, but you also have this like necklace pendant thing, which magically keeps you alive. So the gameplay, it's not a true roguelike. It's like a roguelike light, because when you do a boss, it like checkpoints you there. But the key thing is with this game, as you guys probably remember, you die and you age.
Yes.
So so every time you die in the game, you then age a little bit, and depending on how many times you've died in a row before beating like a mini hard enemy, makes that number rise rapidly. So if you died, let's say you found a particular area very hard and you've died 5 times to like a boss, then you age rapidly compared to the start of the game where you age by like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. So that type of thing. But when you finish a stage, that it then records that age that you've beat that stage. So let's say you do the first stage, and the first time I ever beat the first stage, I was like age 63. So you obviously can't go and complete the game at that age, so you redo the stage a few times, and now I got to like age 25 eventually after doing it a few times, and I was like, right, now I'll progress to the next one. So basically it takes your lowest age that you've beaten a stage at to then play you through. So it's quite nice, and each individual stage has like has shortcuts you can unlock. Like, let's say you're playing Demon Souls or something like that, you open a shortcut, and so you skip out half the level and can move quicker to the boss. So it's very much like that. And like other roguelikes, you get in-run boosts, which are generally like health regen boosts, and your ability to hold your guard longer, which they call structure. And you unlock new moves, which can then be made permanent unlocks as well. So there are like some permanents and some in-run kind of gains and stuff. But what this game is really all about is the combat.
Yeah,
and we all three of us watched that combat when we watched Alana Pierce play, and it makes you feel badass. It's about fast attacks, power attacks, slowing down time and doing these weird like kind of really powerful attacks, and then blocking, parrying, dodging, and that's it. That's the core of the game, and that purely is it. And it's all about timing. It's all about patience. It's all about just reflexes. So it has that ability to make you feel fucking awesome. Like some of the sequences that we saw, and it has the ability to make you feel fucking inept and terrible at the same time. It's incredibly difficult. This game is difficult, and that's the idea of the game. Like, the idea of the game is that you overcome the challenge of it. It's free flowing combat. It's graphically like that cell shaded. I don't know how you guys would describe it. It's that cell shaded, like almost like realistic cartoony.
Yeah, it's the 2D, 3D sort of blend thing, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, hard to describe, but hopefully those listening know what Sifu is, or you can go and have a look. But it looks very nice. I'll say that. And in full motion, looks great. And some of the little sequences are fantastic. As I said, it's about 30 quid, which for a game that definitely feels like a AA game, it feels really weird to call something this polished an indie game. Mm-hmm. It's not AAA, but it's like that AA game. But it's just fucking difficult. News this week that we didn't have the news section, but that it is getting an ultra hard mode and it's getting an easy mode.
Oh, nice.
Which I think this is actually going to be welcome for gamers, because only 30% of the people who have played this game have beaten the second boss, of which there are 5 levels in this game, and only 30% of people have beaten the second boss. Only 6% of people so far have beaten the game.
Okay.
So it's a hard game. It takes but what I do like about it is that it supposedly takes between 10 and 15 hours, depending on your ability. Now, that to me speaks so much more to me than like Returnal.
Yeah.
Because Returnal is a long-ass game and I've put in 30 hours already. So this should be beaten in less time. I'm really enjoying it, but it is fucking difficult. I think the advantage of this game is that it's come out early enough in the month to be kind of heard and be played. And it's a PS5 or PS4, PS5 exclusive on consoles, and that's also a relative rarity, I'd say, at the moment. And for me, it seems like a really good second game.
Yeah.
So you can play one of these open world games. Yeah, exactly. Because I can do a couple of runs on it. I do a couple of runs on it each day.
Yeah.
And I'm bloody loving it. And I'm even watching YouTube videos on like how to get better at it and timing. And people haven't quite figured it out yet. There aren't all these YouTube videos saying like, this is how you should approach it, whatever. You're really having to work at it. And like I've got to a boss at the moment, and I'm slowly but surely getting better at just relaxing and taking my time, timing my dodges and stuff like that. And it's a real reflex heavy game, but it's very, very good.
Awesome.
Surprisingly good.
Well, it must be said, when we were watching it, I was surprised how much it pulled me in.
Yeah.
Just as actually, this looks really cool. So I'm glad to hear it lives up to that.
Yeah, very good. And I think I think of the games I'm playing, that will carry on because it'll be that background game. I don't mind playing that. It's quite cool to just get a couple of runs out.
Yeah.
So yeah, very good.
Awesome. I was amazingly impressed with how seamless the combat seemed.
It's fantastic.
You know what I mean? Like, it literally was just back and forth, and it's like, you know, every other game, like when you fight, you tell yourself that it looks good, but it doesn't. Like the punches won't connect, it will be jittery, like someone won't be facing the right person, but this just seemed incredible. The way it actually looked like a cartoon movie.
This is a game that if you're all right at the game, this is the game that you'd pull out in front of your friends and go like, this is what PS5 looks like. This is what you can play these days. This is what modern games are like. Bash, bash, bash. And it just looks amazing. Do some finishing moves on people, and it seamlessly goes into a finishing move and doesn't seem jarring. So you can... It's very responsive as well. So, yeah, I'm just very impressed that this team have managed to do this, especially presumably on a relative budget. It's just really, really good.
Well, fantastic. And that's the new game for the week, isn't it?
It is the new game for the week, and now we enter big game season with Warhammer Horizon and Elden Ring to finish us off for the month. We're halfway through the month. We're halfway through the month, and we've already had Dying Light 2. We've had Sifu, and I've reviewed that game on YouTube. Yeah. And Red Colony 3, and then now we've got these bloody 3 games coming up as well. It's just I've never known a month like it in gaming.
No, nor me. It's phenomenal. Well, let's hope it is anyway. It looks like it's going to be, but we haven't actually got any of them yet. Next week, it'll be phenomenal.
And we've had a Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, we have. We have. Very nicely done there, Ben. Lovely, seamless way to bring us onto it. Yes, we had a Nintendo Direct just to show us a completely different style of game for the most part, it must be said. But,
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, but it was pretty packed, wasn't it?
It was. Shall I run through and we'll talk as we go through, because we've all seen it, haven't we?
Yep.
So let's go. The first game that they showed at this direct was a Fire Emblem game, and everyone got very excited. But it's Fire Emblem Three Hopes, which is a Dynasty Warriors type game. So it's another Fire Emblem Warriors game, rather than a sequel to Three Houses, which was the excellent turn-based combat game that came out a couple of years ago. And I think this is a good opener. It was a strong opener because the franchise is strong. But I think people were like, damn it, didn't want a Warriors game. No, I don't think anybody wanted a Warriors game. But we have seen with Zelda, they did it with Age of Calamity as well, in between Breath of the Wild 1 and 2. Yeah. They had Age of Calamity doing this exact same thing. I think these will sell, but because of what they are and the link to Three Houses. But I think ultimately it's like, damn it, just want a new fucking Fire Emblem game because they're awesome. The last one on Switch was fantastic.
I remember. And the thing for me, by the way, is this is literally Dynasty Warriors.
Yes, yeah, it is. Absolutely. So it's a Warriors game. It is Dynasty Warriors, just reskinned.
Yeah, my God.
Yeah, but that's the worst bit. Like, the best bit I loved about the Dynasty Warriors is the ancient Chinese element to it. But...
Yeah, using the Three Kingdoms.
Well, the thing is, Age of Calamity, which was the Zelda Breath of the Wild Warriors game, they tied it in fantastically. They had a story, and it was a proper prequel. They did it really, really well. So I can't imagine. I don't think this is just going to be another kind of Dynasty Warriors game. I think this will tie in very, very nicely to Fire Emblem Three Houses. So if you're a fan of Three Houses, I think you will be a fan of this game, even though it's a completely different style. Yeah. So it is Dynasty Warriors, but it's not. So, yeah. But the next game, and I thought, Eddie, when you were watching this earlier, I'm sure that you thought, what the fuck's going on? Because Advance Wars 1 and 2, did you see that? Yeah. Not impressed by the look of these, are you?
By a lot of them, actually, yeah.
Yeah. Well, these are old school games that are getting their rework. Now, I'm thinking that this was just reminding people that it still existed because they had to delay it back into last year. So I think this was just...
Why did they have to delay it? Because it takes too long to make a game like this.
Very good, very good. Anyway,
They were just trying to get ray tracing sorted, Eddie, you know.
No, this is one. No, this is one that we can get behind, guys. Then they announced, out of nowhere, No Man's Sky is coming on the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty huge, isn't it?
That's pretty fucking good, isn't it?
I will say, I think this was the highlight of the show for me.
It was for me.
Yeah.
I can't
incredible.
wait to play No Man's Sky again on the Switch. Go on then. Yeah, lovely. Oh, it's probably run like shit, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And the best thing about the No Man's Sky is the visuals, and I guess you can't see it on the little screen.
I know. But, I played it on my PC. It was the first game I loaded on my new PC just to see how it looked. Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah. But you've put in a lot of time to No Man's Sky, haven't you, Eddie?
Yeah, absolutely love it. Yeah, and my background on my Xbox is still my little house that I built in a lovely little world. Yeah, it's got a lot of downfalls, but yeah.
So many downfalls, but I still love it.
How do you feel about having that in handheld?
You know what? I think initial playing it, I would have no interest in it, but after you realise that it's not a mechanical heavy game, it's actually quite a relaxing game. I think it would be great fun. I really do. Yeah. I think this will be even better for people who've already played No Man's Sky and know how it can be casual and build up a base area and fly around and discover things. I think this will be great.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I long for that everyday game, just the game that I always play, and I wanted No Man's Sky to be that game for me back in the day. I think we all did, yeah. But I think in handheld, it's possible it could be that, because that's ultimately the game that I can play every day is the one that I have handheld. So yeah, really looking for. I don't know how they're going to do this. It's natively on the Switch. It's not a cloud game. It's I don't know how they're going to possibly do it without massive concessions. And it might look like shit, but it doesn't matter. No Man's Sky is coming to the Switch, and that is coming mid-year. I think it's coming June. So look forward to that one. Then we moved on to more Nintendo-based games. So Mario Strikers is coming back. So a football Mario game. Loads of people wanted this. They wanted a new version of the Strikers game. And I thought it looked good. I thought it sounded good. And it certainly looked like there's going to be a good ranked online mode included with this. So I think that's what these games need. They need a good online ranking system.
Yeah.
You liked the look of this, didn't you, Pete?
I was very amused by the look of this, mostly because they literally use the main shot from Blitzball in Final Fantasy X as Mario's like sign off in this. It was fantastic.
Good. They like to keep it game related. So.
yeah. But it was just that bit of like, it is literally the exact moment from the first cinematic, and they've just made it Mario.
So
nice.
Eddie, would you like to play a Mario Striker if I brought the Switch up to Pete's next time and we're sitting around docked and we're playing Mario football?
I think this looks absolutely brilliant. I would, if I had a Switch, I'd chuck so many hours in. I played, and I should have looked this up before this podcast. I used to play an ice hockey game. Not any of the NHLs or anything. This was like a silly one where you would have like, you listeners, if you know what I'm talking about, please write in and tell me, because I'm dying to find out what it's called. But you used to have like little people and big people, and it used to be like fun like this. It used to, the big guys used to batter the small ones, and they used to go up and try and score. This reminds me massively of this. And this was a tiny little game, and I chucked hours upon hours into that. So I would love to play this.
Do you know what this reminds me of, for me, a game that I absolutely fucking loved, and maybe you did too, FIFA Street?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what a game.
I loved FIFA Street, and for me, Mario Strikers is just like FIFA Street.
Yeah. Actually, I can see that. I remember FIFA Street I used to absolutely love because you could do that volley off the crossbar and then smash it in, and it was pretty much impossible to stop. Loved that.
Yeah,
Great way to abuse the game.
I'm really looking forward to Strikers, especially if the online rank system is good. Like that's what makes these games for me. Like I need that. I need to be told how shit I am and need to try and get better. So yeah. Anyway, then they showed Splatoon 3. So they showed the salmon run element of Splatoon 3. So I know you guys haven't played Splatoon before, but in Splatoon 2, Salmon Run was my favourite part of the game. Interestingly, right, it was this game mode which was only available on certain days at certain times. It's the most annoying and frustrating and infuriating thing that I've ever known. Like, it's my favourite game mode on Splatoon, but it's like a little shop that you go into and you say you want to go on a salmon run, you basically work for this little guy in the shop, and the shop is closed half the time.
Yeah,
like it's just, but it almost that degree of scarcity makes the mode even better.
Awesome,
but it's so fucking annoying. Like oh, I fancy playing Splatoon again. Oh, Salmon Run's not available. Fuck it.
Yeah,
like
it was like me and Fiesta in Halo, wasn't it?
Yeah. Exactly, very, very much like that. But imagine a game mode which is always in the game, and it's just like Monday to Wednesday, 9 till 5, or like 4 hours in the afternoon you can play it.
Yeah,
so fucking annoying. But yeah, it looked better than Splatoon 2. Splatoon 2 is one of the best looking games on the Switch. But this looked better, looked more bossy. It just looked like bigger, better, stronger,
Yeah.
So I'm all in on Splatoon 3, obviously. So I think most people are, so they just needed to do that bit and then move on. Then this next section, really, it started this kind of weird thing where they've started off with bangers, really. They've gone from Fire Emblem with No Man's Sky, Mario Strikers, Splatoon 3. Like, really, they've started real strong. Then they've warped back in time and they've made this almost like a presentation for two different time periods. They showed Front Mission first. Had you guys ever heard of this game?
No, it took a lot of research to find out what the hell it is. It looks like and I wish Kirk was here to say this, it looks like a better Titanfall.
Nice. I'm sure he can feed back on that next week.
Lovely. Yes, it's a mech game, and I don't know who cares.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was that. Then they had Disney Speedstorm, which was a Mario Kart clone. Was it? It's probably shit. There's just a million of these now, aren't there?
Yeah.
absolutely.
Like,
but this is Pixar or something? Yeah, Disney.
so there's a Nickelodeon one. There's Crash Team Racing, which is actually quite good. But there's like a load of other ones which I can't even fucking remember. There's one with SpongeBob, isn't there? It's just like, was that a Nickelodeon one? I don't care. They're just shit. So, and this is weird because there's more Mario Kart stuff later on. So don't know why. But then there was the Force Unleashed, the Star Wars game.
Yes,
coming to the Switch,
which did remind me how much I liked that game whenever it originally came out. But weird now. Weird. I
played the second one on Game Pass not too long ago, and it reminded me how much the second one is so much better than the first one.
Yeah.
And now the first one, it's coming out on the Switch. It's just like, what the fuck?
Don't worry, Ben. In a few years, you'll get the second one, surely.
Well, you say that, but KOTOR 2 never comes out anyway.
Yeah, I know, which sucks because it's a really good game.
Yeah, really good game. But I don't know why this is coming to the Switch, but they seem to love bringing old Star Wars games to the Switch.
Yes.
They've done all that last year. So, and then they showed SD Gundam Battle Alliance. Now, Eddie, do you remember, is this the series that every week on the new releases that you had to say like Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3?
I think so, yeah. It was the SD Gundam something Shadow.
Well, it's
something.
just
that was a different game though.
Gundam is everywhere. Like, it's a huge IP.
Right.
You know, okay. Clearly, you guys aren't aware of this fact, but you would, if you'll have seen it, even if you haven't seen it anywhere else, you'll have seen it in Ready Player One, the film, where the kid turns into one to fight at the end. So you are aware of Gundam, even if you're not. But Ben, if you want to go to Japan, you might want to read up on it.
I think I'll take a skip. It's fine.
Yeah, fair enough.
Then they showed Chrono Cross. So there's a remaster of Chrono Cross. I've never played Chrono Cross or Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger seems to be the more popular one. I don't know why they've gone for Chrono Cross because I'm pretty sure everybody wants Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, it's the Switch, Ben. You don't get what you want. Come on.
No, and these are obviously precursors to the Final Fantasy games and stuff like that. So Chrono Trigger, I'm sure, is like this. It's the absolute iconic game that people would love to see remastered. Why have they gone for Chrono Cross? But anyway, they showed off that. So again, we just got an assortment of weird games from long ago and weird games that shouldn't exist now, maybe.
Yes.
Yep. Correct.
And then they've got a new game coming up, so they had to showcase this. We all thought they would. The Kirby and the Forgotten Land. That's Nintendo's big. I think it's coming out in March. I think it's a March game. I think it's Nintendo's big March game. People are excited for it. They're really excited for it. I don't understand why.
Yeah, I've never understood the appeal of Kirby, to be honest. So
nope.
I'm on board with you there.
Is this just the Nintendo effect?
Yes.
Is this just the Nintendo say this is a big game?
Yes.
So we all must believe that it's a big game, but actually we all give it massive passes. We go,
I've said this before with Nintendo. They just stick to their IPs because they know that all the fanboys, and there are like people who like Nintendo probably are more diehard to Nintendo than, say, Xbox fans are to Xboxes. I really do believe that. When you talk to someone about the latest Mario Kart or whatever, they'll die on that hill. It's not a matter of, it was quite bad actually, they had no new features or anything. You know, it's always so big, and of course that's why they get away with bringing out shit after shit.
I do agree with that. Like I do think that Nintendo fans were willing to accept more, and I will play all the Nintendo games, and I know this is controversial, but Mario Odyssey that came out a couple of years ago, like it's one of the biggest games on the Switch. People rate it as like one of the top games, like absolutely amazing. I really didn't like it. I thought it was quite shit, and I just sometimes Nintendo games just fall flat in my eyes, and everyone just gives them a pass and says, yeah, it's a Nintendo. But sometimes they're absolute bangers. Don't get me wrong, I love Nintendos, but. But couldn't let that go on for too long. But yeah, it's a weird one. I think Kirby will be one of those. But anyway, and then we had an interesting one, MLB The Show 2022. So this is a game actually, I think, published by Sony. I don't think it's developed. I think it's published by Sony. So I think again, could be wrong. This is the first Sony game to ever come to a Nintendo platform. So MLB The Show, it looks ropey. Oh boy. It didn't look great, but it's going to be the best baseball game on the Switch, obviously. And it's good that we actually have one. So for our American fans and for those who like baseball, this is probably an immediate pickup if the Switch is your console of choice.
Isn't baseball renowned in America as being like the boring sport? Isn't it? It's like the jokey one of all of them.
Well, you go and sit there for like 7 hours and drink. That's the point of baseball.
Yeah, and they play several games of it, don't they, in a day?
I think so, yeah.
I don't know if in a day, but they do play. I think the average schedule is like 3 a week, isn't it, or something?
I thought they played multiple in a day sometimes. I don't know.
Again, basketball, they play a hell of a lot. They play multiple a day quite often. Major League Baseball takes a bit longer, but I think they do multiple games at some point. Yeah.
We're going into.
If it was the NFL, I'd be much more useful. But in the other American sports, can't do so much.
We've just spent a minute talking about sport. We have no idea.
I can do ice hockey. I can do ice hockey.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
There we go. American football and ice hockey we've got covered. But
we've got 50% of the American sports covered. The other two, sorry guys, just like MLB The Show, we know nothing except it looks ropey on Switch.
Right, then we had Klonoa. Is that how you say that?
I think that's the only thing worth mentioning about it is I don't know how you say the name properly.
Yeah, their platform is I don't know, who cares. Then we had Portal 1 and 2 called the Companion Collection. Why are we back in 2010?
Hey, they are great games.
Why in 2022 are we still banging on about Portal 1 and 2?
Because they're better than Kirby and the Forgotten Land. No, I don't know. I'm just saying.
They probably are. But I just find it so weird. 2022, big direct, like, we're talking about fucking Portal?
Yeah, no.
Come on now. Compared to some of the other games they've given screen time here already, and that we've actually talked about on this, Portal is a very, very good game.
Yeah,
but it's like Portal's like a piece. Like I understand when these things like come to a new console and they were like PlayStation exclusives, but Portal you could have got on PC. So if you wanted to play Portal, anyone could have played Portal.
Yes,
I suppose it's a piece of Portal's almost like a piece of gaming memorabilia at this time. Like it's like something that's in a museum. It's like it's an iconic game from the past. But
just got like a well done star stuck on it. Yeah,
but speaking of bringing old games to life again on the Switch, there's a game called Live Alive, which I don't think ever released outside of Japan. It's now getting a remaster and a release worldwide, and it looks bloody awesome.
Yes.
It looks really, really good. So in the same vein as kind of Octopath Traveler,
where you that's pick, what the vibe I was getting at.
Yeah, you pick one story and then you play through that story, and then you can pick another story and play through that story. It's got that vibe, but it's also got that look. But the different characters and the different stories, they did you see that one that looked like a ninja, just like moving around and stuff like that? It just so they had like some modern day, some futuristic, some from the past, and different stories, all come together somehow. But graphically, I thought this looked wonderful. And I thought the gameplay looked excellent. I thought, where the fuck did this come from? And I'd never heard of it. Like, I went on Metacritic and typed it in and went, well, what is this game? And it's not on there. Like, this just looks really, really nice. So I haven't noted down when it comes out, but definitely have that on the radar for when it does, because I imagine it will be about 15 quid as well.
22nd of July.
22nd of July. That's further away than I'd hoped, but yeah, good stuff. Then we had a bit of a surprise announcement. We had, and this is probably a bit late in the day for this, but Switch Sports, so a sequel to Wii Sports, has been announced. Why the fuck this wasn't already on the Switch?
Yeah,
I have literally no fucking idea. But Wii Sports is getting a sequel called Switch Sports. At launch, there will be tennis, badminton, bowling, volleyball, and some crappy sword game. Boxing is weirdly missing now. There is also a weird version of football that will be included.
Fantastic.
Oh yeah, I saw the football one. That was weird.
Yeah,
But you move your knee or something.
Yeah, absolutely. But golf, golf will be coming, so don't worry, because that was my favourite one. Of
that's
the
that's the key part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved the golf, and that is coming in an update in a couple of months. So they were keen to point that out. But please, for fuck's sake, please have multiple golf courses. Please actually have 18 holes. Please actually maybe be able to change like some weather and stuff like that. Like, I just want I want Wii Sports Golf, but just upgraded, please. Like, I just hate it when it's just like they do such a half-assed effort. Like, even if you have to make it paid DLC, I don't care. Just give me a variety of courses. Me and my brother used to play the shit out of that. Like, it was competitive. Yeah. It's good, but there also will be online ranking, and it sounds decent. There's online matchmaking with people of your level, so there is a ranking system. So that is one that should have been released a couple of years ago, but now is getting released. So good stuff. Yeah. And then this next one, Pete, do you want to take a stab at how you say this? Because
I'm going to guess it's Taiko no Tatsujin.
Taiko no.
There we go. There we go.
I'm going to guess, yeah.
It's a rhythm game. I don't care. Yeah.
This is proper bad, this one. This looks oh, dear.
If you like rhythm games... Well, it just gets me when they like go, whatever that your name is, it's coming soon, and you're just like, how you sound so excited about that, and it's just, why? Why? But yeah, moving on. Triangle Strategy, that was also shown. First 3 chapters are available in a demo, and that's probably about 3 hours worth. So Triangle Strategy, which is like has the same art style as Octopath Traveler, if you guys remember, and I really like the look of this. But the demo is out, and it comes out very soon. I think the game is out in March, so it's a big Nintendo release, and I believe it'll be a timed exclusive, just like Octopath Traveler. So check that one out if you're interested. Then we had Metroid Dread. They had a one-hit mode was added, and an easy mode is now added as well, with a boss rush mode coming in April. So that will be quite a cool little addition, I think, a boss rush mode.
Yeah.
I think I will jump back in and play that just for the boss rush, because just go boss after boss, because the annoying thing when you replay again is actually just the moving around and the shitty enemies in between. So good stuff. And then we had Earthbound and Earthbound Beginnings got added to the online Switch stuff. So cult classics, I don't really care, but added in. So Earthbound is really something really big. Have you guys played Earthbound back in the day?
No.
Looked
too bad for even me when I was a child.
Well, to be honest, as an RPG, it looks ahead of its time, but the problem is time has moved on. So it's not there. But right,
time hasn't moved on, Ben, because I've watched this direct, and every single game has been from the 1930s.
Yeah. I'm
tell
realizing
us, what's our next game? Is it something new and exciting?
Well, it's Mario Kart. But it's Mario Kart Booster Course Pack. 48 tracks being added over the next 2 years up until the end of 2023. It's going to cost about 25 to 30 quid if you want all 48 tracks. However, if you buy the Switch Online expansion pack, they are included. Those fucking villains. I knew they'd get me somehow.
Of course.
I knew they'd get me to buy the fucking expansion pack, and this is the way they do it. So, very good. It's 48 tracks from the past. So from older tracks that they're going to be added in, all remastered. 48 tracks added to the game is pretty good. But what this does do, it's damning. Do you remember about a month or two ago, we talked about a news story about potential Mario Kart 9? They obviously have no intention of doing a Mario Kart 9 before late 23, maybe 2024, which will make Mario Kart 8 around 9
Yeah, they're
years
doing
old.
they're doing the Skyrim thing. It's fine. Yeah, it's all
but
good.
the thing is, Mario Kart 8 came out on the fucking Wii U.
Yeah.
It was ported to the Switch.
Yeah.
It's just like, Jesus Christ. Get a fucking new Mario Kart. And then the big reveal, which I don't really care about, but big reveal was Xenoblade Chronicles 3. A lot of people do care about it, so fair play.
It's another huge Nintendo one, isn't it?
It's a huge one. A lot of people care. I don't, but fair fucking play to those that do, because a lot of people were emotional about that. So very good. Very good.
But it must be said, and I imagine Eddie gets the same sort of feeling. I actually have a problem with Nintendo doing their big one at the end, because the directs are quite long. Like, even our run through there has taken flipping ages, guys.
I know, and I apologise for that, because I realised when it was getting through, and I just mentioned when I got to Metroid Dread and Earthbound, I was thinking, fucking hell, I'm droning on. This is...
It's mostly as well, Ben, that I made the mistake of not eating any food since breakfast today, so I am now furious. But I'm coping. I'm coping to get through it here. But it did channel the same thoughts I get with the Nintendo Directs, which is like the beginning, especially in this one, you're like, cool, there's some really good stuff here. This is really interesting. And then about halfway through, I just lose it. I'm just gone. Yeah. They've lost me completely.
I'm with you, because for me, I thought this contained all the constituent parts, like all the big games, like to make it a banger. But actually, I was like, meh.
Yeah, exactly. And it's even, they then do that big reveal at the end, and you're like, and my overriding thought was, oh, thank God it's about to finish. And that's not cool, because it is a big game and it is something that lots of people are interested in. But I think it's partially the style and partially the amount of time that goes into them that leads me at the end to being like that.
Yeah, so, I totally agree. And they showed some good stuff here. They didn't show Bayonetta 3. They didn't show Breath of the Wild 2. I think Nintendo are looking fairly strong into 2022. Would you
definitely
agree? Yeah,
definitely.
But to be honest, the biggest thing I thought about this Direct was, do Xbox need to do something like this going forwards?
I mean,
like that's the biggest takeaway from a Nintendo Direct is I'd love to see Xbox do this.
They really could do something, especially with Game Pass linked into it, couldn't they?
Oh, yeah, they could do something like this with like new games coming in the next month with Game Pass or something. That
or like the quarterly one. I know they're like self-drop a lot, but they could do that. And I've put in our document, I've put a good name for it.
What have you put? I haven't read it.
They could call these DirectX. So yeah, I think they've got it all wrapped up. Ben, Xbox need to do this.
Is this tied into us getting a sponsorship? Are you now having to give them marketing ideas?
Look, we need to step up somehow, Pete. You know, we've tried everything.
Fair. We're still not getting the attention we so desperately crave.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
Or the money we desperately need. But anyway, beyond that, I desperately need some food. So if people want to find more content where we're more normal, Ben, how can they find it?
So we have our YouTube channel, which is Grumpy Gamers Podcast. As I said, we've got a review up this week. We put videos up weekly, sometimes a couple a week. We've got Pete and Eddie's Warhammer 3 thoughts. We've got Pete and my Elden Ring thoughts as well. Kirk's done a couple of great videos about the Activision stuff, and this week we obviously got the review. So check us out on YouTube. You can email us at podcast@grumpygamers.co.uk, and you can tweet us at grumpygamerspod, where Kirk will respond, despite him not being on the podcast.
Yes, yeah. Is that something we could? Anyway, no. For now, it's GG.
GG.
GG.